Gonna make a little bit more black rifle. Then I'm gonna take you guys outside, show you guys a little bit something different. The Dewey Bridge, give you a little history lesson on that, and then talk about fast. Life is better at the campsite. Let's get going. It's the fasting. I think there's a bunch of different people that do it for a bunch of different reasons. Whether it's weight loss, spiritual, could be a numerous variety of things. I've never really tried it for the weight loss aspect, but the more and more content I've been watching on religious people, they all had to seem to have one thing in common, was that whenever they go through a fast, it seems like they can connect better with God. And I can't give you an honest answer on that. But before we get too far, just so everybody knows, I'm not a priest, a pastor, a minister, or a doctor. So do what you will with this, but do it in a safe manner. I started fasting probably a month ago on the weekends, and I'd only do 36 to 40 hours. And I tried to do it before that, but it seemed like I would struggle with it. I could never get 12, 14 hours in and be like, oh, I'm hungry, give me something. But about a month ago, I prayed about it as I went into a fast. And it was easy. I didn't have no problems. I think food crossed my mind maybe twice. I even so far as went and made a meal. But after it got done cooking, I didn't want it. But it's just something to think about. The more and more I lean into Christ, the more and more I realize we need to pray about everything. Everything we do. But I'm getting up here to the Dewey Bridge. I'll show you guys what it looks like, those that haven't seen it. And then I'll read you some of the history on the board that they got. And then we'll probably go back to camp and then sit outside, and I got a whole bunch of biblical verses for fasting. And then I got some health benefits printed off as well. Anyways, I'll see you guys here in a minute. So the sign was built in 1916, restored in 2000, and then after some time, the bridge got burned down. Can you guys see that little lizard right there? I scared him when I walked up. I remember when all this stuff was still together as a kid. And I think in my early 20s, I honestly can't remember when it got burnt down. There's a lot of memories out here. It's pretty neat. Right there on the backside, of the Dewey Bridge is assigned as this historical site. I'm gonna walk down here, go check it out, take you guys along, see if we see anything historical. The historic Dewey school site. Richard Westwood moved his family to Dewey permanently in 1904 to run the ferry. The Westwoods needed a school for their children. Their first school in 1904 to 1906 was in Wheeler's log cabin. Miss Martha Westwood had to sign up for classes to make the necessary quota for a school in 1906. Grand County built a school on the site. It was 16 by 24 feet, made of native lumber, lined with unbleached muslin to keep the wind, dust, and bugs out. Joe Scharf taught 9 pupils for the 3-month session. Other teachers over the years were Bert Brown, W.R. McConkey, Elmer Kelly, Selmer Earp, and Made. I'm going to butcher that name. The ferry closed when the bridge was completed in 1916. Mr. Westwood lost his employment and moved his family to Moab. The school was closed, although the building stood for many years. That's pretty neat. Dewey Bridge wildfire, constructed in 1916 to connect southeastern Utah with Grand Junction. The remarkable Dewey Bridge was destroyed by wildfire in '08. This human-caused fire burned nearly 9 acres of land and resulted in an estimated $862,000 in property damages and the loss of irreplaceable historic values. These scorched remnants now serve as a harsh reminder of the unintended outcomes of fire. Do your part, protect your natural and cultural resources by practicing responsible fire use. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm going to go over some verses that talk about fasting. Got Ezra 8:23. So we fasted and implored our God for this, and he listened to our entreaty. Isaiah 58:6. Is not this the fast that I choose? To loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the straps of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke. Psalms 69:10. When I wept and humbled my soul with fasting, it became my reproach. Acts 9:9. And for 3 days he was without sight, and neither ate nor drink. Judges 20:26. Then all the people of Israel, the whole army, went up and came to Bethel and wept. They sat there before the Lord and fasted that day until evening, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. (1 Corinthians 10, verse 31). So whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. Matthew 1-11. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. Then after fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. And the tempter came and said to him, If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread. But he answered, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. Then the devil took him to the holy city and set him on the pinnacle of the temple. Two Chronicles, chapter 20, verse 3. Then Jehoshaphat was afraid and set his face to seek the Lord and proclaimed a fast throughout all Judah. Deuteronomy 9:18. Then I lay prostrate before the Lord as before, 40 days and 40 nights. I neither ate bread nor drank water, because of all the sins that you had committed in doing what was evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Joel 2:15. Blow the trumpet in Zion, consecrate a fast, call a solemn assembly. Luke 5:34-35. And Jesus said to them, Can you make wedding guests fast while the bridegroom is with them? The days will come when the bridegroom is taken away from them, and then they will fast in those days. Psalms 109:24. My knees are weak through fasting. My body has become gaunt with no fat. I'm working on it. And some more. Just printed out quite a few. But these are all out of the ESV Bible. This came off of openbible.info. It's a pretty neat website. Type in there subjects that you're interested in, and they'll find that. But also printed off some, I guess, scientific version, if anybody's interested in that as well. Intermittent fasting benefits thinking and memory. Studies discovered that intermittent fasting boosts working memory in animals and verbal memory in adult humans. Heart health, intermittent fasting improved blood pressure and resting heart rates as well as other heart-related measurements. Physical performance. Young men who fasted for 16 hours showed fat loss while maintaining muscle mass. Mice who were fed on alternate days showed better endurance in running. Type 2 diabetes and obesity. In animal studies, intermittent fasting prevented obesity, and in 6 brief studies, obese adult humans lost weight through intermittent fasting. People with type 2 diabetes may benefit. Most of the available research shows that intermittent fasting can help people lose body weight and lower their levels of fasting glucose, fasting insulin, and leptin, while reducing insulin resistance, decreasing levels of leptin, and increasing levels of I can't pronounce that. Certain studies found that some patients practicing intermittent fasting with supervision by their doctors were able to reverse their needs for insulin therapy. And the last one on here is tissue health in animals. Intermittent fasting reduced tissue damage in surgery and improved results. And this came off hopkinsmedicine.org if you guys want to check out that website.